Right now, your landing pages, pitch decks, and brand visuals come from a designer, an agency, or a freelancer you pay every single month. Claude Design produces that same work from a prompt, and after testing it on a full set of business materials, it cuts a serious chunk out of that design spend. So in this video, you'll watch it produce that work from scratch and see exactly what it replaces and what it doesn't. A custom landing page from an agency is usually weeks of work and a few $1,000s, and because it costs that much, most businesses only ever get one shot at it. The page that converts is almost never the first one you build. It's the version you land on after testing a few, and a slow, expensive build is exactly what makes that testing impossible. Claude Design changes that, and it's built into Claude, open from the palette icon in the left sidebar, so there's nothing separate to install. It's available on the Pro, Max, Team, and Enterprise plans, so if you pay for Claude, you already have it. It runs in the browser version of Claude rather than the desktop app, so the palette icon only shows up at claude.ai, and on Enterprise plans, an admin has to switch it on in the organization settings first. Anthropic still calls the whole thing a research preview too, which means features reach accounts at different times, so your screen can look slightly different from mine, and that's normal. So I'll open it and paste in a prompt for the page I want. What comes back is a working page you can click through with the sections laid out and the buttons live, and it's built in seconds. The first version it gives you is never the final one, and the editing is where it pulls ahead of other AI tools. In most of them, when the layout isn't right, your only option is to regenerate the whole thing and take whatever comes back. Here you change the one thing you want changed and leave the rest alone. If a section feels too crowded, I tell it in plain language and it adjusts. And for things like spacing or width, it gives me sliders I can drag to the exact value instead of trying to describe it. Then I'll make a bigger change. I'll ask it to turn the pricing section into a comparison table with the 3 tiers side by side, and it rebuilds just that section and leaves the rest of the page alone. So you're refining what you have instead of starting over each time. With an outside designer or agency, every one of those changes is an email, a turnaround, and another line on the invoice, and that back and forth is what turns a 2-day job into a 2-week one. Doing it yourself in the moment removes the whole cycle. So the page that used to take weeks and a few $1,000s came together in minutes, and what that means for your marketing is that testing stops being a luxury. You can launch a campaign or try a new angle the day you think of it, and actually find what converts instead of betting everything on one page you never had time to improve. And the smartest way to use that speed is to stop thinking in single pages, because when a page takes minutes, you can generate 2 more versions with a different headline and a different structure. Send a share of your traffic to each one and let the numbers tell you which one to keep. That covers the asset that brings people in, and the next is what you put in front of them when the money's on the line. Every pitch deck has one job: to move one specific person to a yes, and the decks that do that are built for the person reading them. The catch is that tailoring a deck for every prospect used to cost too many hours to bother with, so the same generic version goes out to everyone, and a generic deck is the one that gets skimmed and forgotten. A deck like that is normally what you'd brief to a designer and wait a week to get back. Claude Design lets you start from something you already have instead of from scratch. So alongside a text prompt, you can upload a Word doc, a PowerPoint, or a spreadsheet, and it turns that into a finished designed deck. I'll take a rough brief I already wrote in a Word doc, upload it, and ask it to turn that into a 10-slide sales deck I can send to a prospect. It reads the document and lays out the slides, the title, the problem, the solution, the numbers, and a close as a design presentation instead of bullet points on a white background. From there, I refine it the same way I did the page, reordering a slide or restyling the one with the numbers so the key figure stands out. When it's ready, you can send it out as a PDF, export it straight to PowerPoint so your team keeps working in the format they already use, or push it into Canva for editing together. The export choice matters more than it looks, because a PDF keeps the deck locked exactly as you designed it, while the PowerPoint export means your sales team can tweak a slide 5 minutes before a call without ever opening Claude. And once you have a deck you're happy with, treat it as the master, because making a version for a new prospect is just uploading it back in and telling Claude who it's for. Because a tailored deck now takes minutes, you can shape each one around the exact prospect or investor you're pitching, and a deck that speaks directly to someone's situation is the one that actually moves a deal forward. That's your highest stakes document handled, but it isn't where the design hours actually pile up. Marketing runs on repetition. Someone rarely acts the first time they see you. They act once you've shown up enough times to feel familiar, and that only happens if you can produce enough to stay visible across every channel. That output is where most small teams fall behind, because the steady stream of one-pagers, social graphics, and feature announcements is exactly what a design backlog can't keep up with. The risk when you produce them fast is that they drift off brand. So before I ask for anything, I give Claude Design something to match. I upload multiple screenshots of the company's existing site and tell it to use those as the reference for everything in this session. And And the quality of what you feed it decides the quality of what you get back. So give it the pages you're proudest of, not one messy full-page capture where everything is crammed together, because clean references come back as clean assets. With that reference in place, I ask for a one-page sales sheet with 3 benefits and a pricing table. Then in the same session, I'll ask for a launch graphic for a new feature and a display ad in the same style for a retargeting campaign. 3 different assets, all on brand, all in the few seconds it takes to ask. In a normal setup, every one of those waits in a queue on whoever owns design, and that queue is the bottleneck that throttles your whole marketing calendar. Producing them yourself means your marketing finally moves at the speed of your ideas instead of your backlog. Giving it the brand once at the start works, but doing that at the start of every session gets repetitive, and there's a way to make it automatic. Watch what happens when I generate an asset without describing the brand at all. I'll ask for a webinar registration page for next month's session, and it comes back already matching everything from before. The same colors, the same type, the same feel. That's because when you first set it up, you give it your brand materials, your logo, your fonts, and your existing design files, and it builds a design system from them automatically. So every project after that inherits your colors, your type, and your components without you re-explaining the brand each time. There are 2 details in that setup worth knowing before you build yours. The first is that a design system does nothing while it sits as a draft. So once Claude builds it, you flip it to published in your settings, and from then on, every new project picks it up from a drop-down the moment you create it. The second is that it isn't frozen after that, because opening it and hitting remix lets you change a color or a font in one place, and every project you start afterward carries the update. In marketing, consistency like that is what turns scattered assets into a brand people recognize, and recognition is what makes someone trust you enough to buy. Every off-brand asset resets that, which is why the companies that look the most expensive are usually just the ones that stayed consistent everywhere, not the ones who spent the most. It's also the part you're actually paying a design team for, making everything look like it came from the same company. A freelancer can make one good graphic, but keeping 50 of them consistent across a year is the part that usually takes a team. And that's what's being handled automatically here. And if you run more than one brand, you can hold multiple design systems and switch between them per project, which covers agencies and anyone managing separate product lines. What it replaces is the production work, the pages, the decks, the graphics, and the stream of small requests in between, because that was the work where you were paying for hands rather than judgment. What it doesn't replace is the thinking, because it won't make the strategy calls, it won't write the copy that makes any of this convert, and it won't replace a full design team running pixel-perfect systems at scale. But everything you just watched it produce is work you used to pay for, now done in minutes. And producing the materials is only the first piece, because the real payoff comes from building the systems that run the rest of your business the same way. I put together a full breakdown on building those AI systems from the ground up, and you can watch it right here. So if you want to take this further and see what else you can build with AI, that's the next step. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.